Yo, Gabba Gabba. Yo, Gabba Gabba. And the Rangers have won the World Series.
What's up, guys?
Oh, man. It is good to be back, bro.
Back home. Home base.
Home base. Headquarters.
Hey, HQ.
We're back. It's legit been like 2 weeks since I've seen this guy.
Yeah. Been a long time. Went out to California, NorCal. Had a wedding to go to. Beautiful time with the family, man. Beautiful weather. But now we're back.
Yeah. And speaking of beauty, man, we got a big announcement. We have been working hard at it, man, as we continue growing this show, this channel, The Give and Go. You know, we do this for free in our own free time. We work hard at it, and so much so that we decided to create some T-shirts. We have merch now, folks. We have merch. For our Spotify listeners, just trust that it looks amazing. I'm showing the shirts to the camera right now. This right here is the World Tee. It features the phrase "The Give and Go" in 20 different languages. That's because of our diverse fan base.
Yeah,
I just want to give a little shout out to them, man, because I'm just like, you never know who wants to buy a shirt, man. If it's someone from Iran, from France, from anywhere, man. And
anywhere, bro.
That's one of our shirts. This is the second shirt right here. This is the logo tee. This is the basic black T-shirt with our classic teal greenish logo showing right in the middle. It's one of my favorite ones. And then the last one is the tactical tee, where it says "The Give and Go" by Reynoso and Soltero, and you have the famous give and go play right here happening. So you're always reminded of why we did this, you know? One of the most essential plays in football. And so, folks, if you want to support the channel, and the best way to do is by buying a shirt, because that goes directly to us. It helps fund the show. It helps keep the channel alive. And, man, we've just been working hard at it, bringing you this content happily. Very thankful and very grateful for all the people that follow us. And so if you want to join the Give and Go community, man, buy one of these shirts, man. They're comfy. The link will be down in the description of any channel that you're watching this through, whether it's Spotify or YouTube or whatever. You can buy the shirt literally anywhere, and it's worldwide shipping. Worldwide, man. We're going big.
Baby.
We got merch. We got merch, man. So that's big for us. Good Lord, man. We have a jam-packed episode. We're going to feature some fan video Q&As later down the line. But right now, we're going to talk about the biggest outcomes in world football. That is international football.
The elephant in the room.
We got to address the Peruvian heartbreak that happened this past week. We have a ton of Peruvian listeners, man. And let's talk about this fucking match, dude, because to have this outcome is truly surprising after all the shit we talked last episode.
Look, man, we low-key saw this coming in a weird way. We talked about how Peru not being able to play at home could actually be their detriment, their downfall. And I said it loosely. I was like, you know what? It could play a factor. And I think that is the exact factor that played in Peru ultimately not going to the 2022 World Cup, bro.
Yeah.
Look, I absolutely hated the way the first 5 minutes started. I was like, oh, no, this is not good. Not that I thought that Peru would lose after the first 5 minutes, but, dude, it was evident. It was clear. It was obvious. These Peruvian players were nervous, man. Yeah. They were nervous. They were anxious. Cueva was just like letting balls he didn't have that same pristine touch that he usually does.
Cueva was in a cave, bro.
And he couldn't get out, man. Carrillo was off. He was off. Advíncula, I know, was coming off like a slight little knock, so he was slightly injured, but like even then, it's just he didn't have anywhere near the same impact that he usually does. Tapia just wasn't his same, like he didn't have the same presence that he usually does in that midfield. And up top, La Padula, again, I know he really relies on service, but like he couldn't get anything going,
he
man.
Was not at the end of anything.
Anything. His movement was off. Even his hold-up play wasn't as good as it usually does. Not that he excels in it really well, but it's still every single Peruvian player, bro.
Wasn't at full 10,
No.
Yeah.
Not even close. I'm going to be completely honest. Not even close. So after 5 minutes into this game, I was like, God fucking damn it. This is literally the worst thing you want to see if you're a Peruvian fan.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
And there's other, aspects of, did they kind of underestimate their opponent because that extra motor wasn't there, man. It could be that it was the playing away from home, but even then, you had so many Peruvian fans in attendance, man.
Dude, and
from the camera point of view, it looked like it was all Peru.
Yeah.
And so like visually you'd be like, okay, they're still away from home, but this is a home away from home.
It really is.
Gravely underestimated their opponent, but you look at the game, man, and Peru did have the most clear-cut chance with that header by Flores that hit the post, but outside of that, man, Australia was the slightly better team.
That's the thing for me, is that throughout the course of that entire game, obviously went to penalties 0-0. Throughout the course of that entire game, for as nervous as Peru was, Australia was equally as confident in their ability to just like grind this game out. Yeah. They looked completely comfortable. They're like, look, we know we're not going to out Peru. They already knew that going into this game. So what we're going to do, we're just going to play our style of Socceroo football. That's what they're going to do. And that's exactly what they did. And they had no problem doing it. They knew exactly what they wanted to do, and they came out there and executed their game plan. What I think is interesting, and I do think it kind of played a role in this, like to be completely honest, is they played in Qatar a week before that Peru game, right? They had one more qualifier game to play against the UAE. So they had been in the country probably a little bit longer than Peru. And they had already a highly competitive game to win against the UAE, and win it they did. So coming out in those lights in Qatar a second time against Peru, they're like, all right, we've literally been here before last week against the UAE. Let's just do the same exact thing, knowing exactly who we are, and let's get the same result. And they did. They grinded this out.
And I think I'm still kind of surprised at the role that Aaron Moy plays on this team, man. He's still very much the same player for them as he was 4 years ago, bro. Yeah. And, he's been through a lot. He started off he was at Huddersfield when they got promoted. Yeah. He then moved to Brighton for a bit. Now he's in China, bro. Yeah. And I just thought, I was under the assumption that Aaron Moy had kind of fallen off a bit. Was a little washed up. Yeah, sure. But in this game, I'm not saying he was amazing, but he still played that same role of just combining the midfield with the offense, slinging balls, providing a rhythm to the gameplay for the Australians, and it low-key surprised me, man.
Well, that's what's kind of frustrating, is because when I prefaced this game, I said that this is probably the worst Australian squad that I've seen going into a World Cup. And the thing is, I still kind of stand by that, even though they beat Peru, because you're right, Aaron Moy was good, but he's not in his prime anymore.
Yeah, it wasn't like he's game breaking. I was just like, exactly. He's doing pretty good, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, and then left winger Matthew Leckie, he's out of his prime too. A big part of Leckie's game was pure pace and speed. Now that he's a little older, he doesn't have that same pace anywhere near where he used to. He's still a good player. But you just don't have the same Matthew Leckie that you did 4 years ago, that you did 8 years ago. And you don't have a guy that's honestly, in my opinion, fully replaced Tim Cahill up top.
Oh, absolutely, man.
So,
absolutely.
I look at this Australian squad, even though they are going to the World Cup, and in my opinion, we're the better team on the day against Peru, I still think that this is the worst Australian squad I've seen go to the World Cup.
And then you top that off with the fucking clown goalkeeper coming in and jumping up, being a literal kangaroo on the goddamn penalty line, bro. Literally, man.
Like that's dude, he was like twirling at one point.
Dude, that's what this Australian team is, man. Yeah, that's it's indicative of that. I think that what you pointed out about them being in Qatar, already playing a game, actually plays a huge factor. Huge, bro. We know momentum's big in sports, especially in soccer, but just being accommodated to your settings, knowing the pitch, and just that air, that breeze that you feel, it has something, it has an impact. Yeah. Just like they say that going to South America is a whole task in of itself. So is playing in Qatar, and being there a week before helps a lot, man. Yeah, dude. But they did it. They got it. That penalty shootout, man.
And one thing I will say, and it just really does piss me off, is that I'm a little disappointed in Peru, because they knew the task at hand, right? Yeah. They knew, and it's not like they don't have footage on Australia, right? Yeah. It's not like they didn't know who their opponent was. And bar those nerves, I'm disappointed that Peru didn't come out with the same urgency that they did against Paraguay. And when even though Peru were in a decent spot going into the last match day, they knew that if they beat Paraguay, they're through. And they went out against Paraguay and just went off. Remember, we talked about it. Cueva had that beautiful sombrerito, the little pass, the dink, the pass, the goal. It was beautiful. And that was completely non-existent. That play, that style, that beautiful way that we know how Peru play was absent in Qatar. Absent. And ultimately, I'm happy that they're not going, man, because this is why I didn't want to root for them in the first place, man. The idea that I knew that Peru would break my heart, bro. That if they were to go to this World Cup in the same group against France and Denmark, I know, I said this in our preview for the World Cup.
I'll back you
I
on
said
that.
If Peru in that group, they're just going to have the same outcome of being the lesser team against France, Denmark. And so, in a way, Australia now get to play France and Denmark, the same group that they were in 4 years ago. And I think, honestly, the better team did win on the day.
Yeah. And I asked our viewers on Instagram, I said, Peruvian viewers, give me your thoughts. What do you think about this outcome? Here's what some of them said. Jorge Navarrete 18 says, like shit. But all the blame is on the pregame. They thought they won the game before playing.
Yeah.
Casper Gaviria says, Peru dominated the whole entire game but could not finish. Sucks they lost in penalties. Miguel _S_146 says, desilusión. Sad way to say goodbye to the World Cup and this era of players. Gonna hurt for a minute. And that's
a good
that's
point.
the one that gets me, man, because we fell in love with this crop of Peruvian players, man, 4 years ago, or even 6 because you count in their performances in Copa America.
Sure.
And how they were building up to this.
They were building up to 2018,
Yeah. And this is the way it ends for them.
Yep.
Like, at least for this era of players. They were already heading that way.
Yes.
And it brings up a good question, and I saw that they're having talks about it right now, but does Gareca stay? Does he stay? Does he stay to continue building this project, or does he go find a different job? I saw they're trying to renew his contract. The federation is trying to renew it, but I mean, from a coaching perspective, it's tough to build something like this and then have it in like the way it did it here, man, without even going to the World Cup.
There's no celebration.
There's nothing.
There's nothing. You get nothing out of this. And it's a great point, because that is a sentiment that I had at the end of this game. I was like, this is it. This golden generation, this new golden generation of Peru, it's done. Because first off, Paulo Guerrero already was phased out due to his just old age. But I honestly do think this is it for Cueva, Advíncula, Carrillo, even Yotun, maybe to an extent. This is it. That is the core of that 2018 team. Yeah. That the core of why Peru were so good in 2018, I think, are going to slowly be phased out over the next 4 years. Yeah. And I don't even think it's a question. Sure, we might still see them occasionally, but the impact on the game that they had over these last 6 years will not even be close to the same. Yeah, it won't be close.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the Peruvian youth academies
to
know if there's something coming up the ranks. Maybe our viewers do, but just from what I'm seeing, it's gonna slowly phase out. And
I think so.
I do want to say something though. On the broad spectrum, the give and go was right, man.
Yeah,
it was
we were right.
5-6 months ago where we got ambushed for saying that CONMEBOL was on the decline.
Oh.
And look at what we have here now. Only 4 CONMEBOL teams going through. Yeah. And literally outside of Brazil and Argentina, the rest are pretty, I won't say weak because Ecuador and Uruguay are good. But there's a drop in quality that's happened to CONMEBOL that had not happened in the past 4 years. Yeah. It's different now, man. And we're seeing Australia, the Socceroos.
Arguably one of the worst squads that they've had in the last 20 years.
Go and get a result against a Peruvian team that I thought more of.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody did.
The commentators did. They're like, this is not how Peru plays.
Yeah, man. And so a part of me is just like, yeah, this is kind of what we were trying to say, where CONMEBOL is slightly declining, and maybe it gets back up in the next 4 years. You think it's a little bit more extreme.
Here's the thing. After watching this game and seeing the outcome and the way that Peru lost and the way that Australia were just like, hey, let's just grind this out because we can. I have very, very, very serious concerns about Ecuador this World Cup.
Ooh,
yeah.
Okay.
Because just very quickly, if you see the teams that they're going to have to play, Senegal and the Netherlands, and then to boot, just add in the host team.
Shit.
That's tough.
I know, it's going to be very hard.
If Australia can literally just play a physical game against a pacey, creative, crafty Peru, Ecuador is going to have no chance against Senegal. They're going to have no chance against the Netherlands. And it's simply because of what we've been talking about. CONMEBOL in general is on this decline, and I'm very concerned about Ecuador this World Cup. Not saying that they're going to do bad, not saying that they don't have good players, but as a team against another physical team, I'm scared.
It is. I think a lot of it's gonna be mental, man, because I think mentally this Peruvian team beat themselves up going into this Australia game. If Ecuador does the same thing mentally, bro, they're not gonna be able to. They won't even be able to walk with Netherlands or Senegal. They gotta show up with that Argentina mindset.
Yes,
that asshole douchebag mindset. Like just fucking
we're South American. And we're gonna show you why football's better.
And hope man, I don't know. You got me worried now, bro.
I'm worried, bro.
You got me a little concerned.
I'm concerned.
You got me a little concerned. The World Cup's still coming up, and there's plenty of teams to keep up with, and that's why these friendlies are going to matter. And if you would like to keep up with all the friendlies, I highly recommend you download the OneFootball app. That's right, folks. The OneFootball app. It's right down in our description. Click on the link and download the app for any updates on world football, transfers, news. Hey, it's the summer of transfers, man. You got to keep up with it. There's a lot happening. Yeah. Darwin Nunez going to Liverpool. Vieira going to Arsenal from FC Porto. So much happening in world football, and we're gonna have to keep up with Ecuador and seeing how those players are looking in their form.
Yeah.
And we're gonna use that app to do it. So shout out to our sponsors, OneFootball. Make sure to download the app right below. And let's get on with it, man. And so we move on to the second big game that happened in regards to the World Cup. We now finally have a full 32-team World Cup qualified teams list ready to go. And the last team that joins is none other than Costa Rica, bro.
Costa Rica, man.
And I'm going to call you out on this, man.
Pura vida.
No, I'm going to call you out on this. I'm going to call this because we've had a number of comments on our YouTube videos where people are like, hey, what happened? What happened to you, Soltero? Yeah. What happened to that Costa Rican pride you showed? We have a number of videos where you show so much Costa Rican pride.
It's still there.
And yet you turned on them, bro. You turned on them. And good Lord, what a game, bro.
Oh, this was
what a game.
This is actually a great game.
We got to dissect this one.
Yeah.
Costa Rica against New Zealand. In the first 5 minutes, we have action.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Jewison Bennett, the 17, 18-year-old, bombs down that left wing. Does actually pretty well. Does a little cut inside, and then who does he find? The one and only.
Fuck you, man.
Whoa. The one
you
and
are
only.
against this team, man.
Joel Campbell.
Yeah.
And he honestly,
soup.
Great finish because he has to come across that ball and honestly virtually slice it. He does it really well, just gets his ankle to it, honestly. Yeah. And it just sneaks in on the far side of the post. Beautiful goal. Excellently done by Costa Rica on what was virtually just a counterattack with those two top players. And they're up 1-0 within the first 5 minutes.
1-0, bro. And it's the scenes were nice, man. Costa Ricans were there in attendance, and they're going crazy, man. Crazy because, Costa Rica ended up the qualification cycle on a really high note.
They really did.
They're feeling good about themselves. Sure, they didn't win that friendly that they had, but they still showed up to they showed up to the occasion. What's better than an early goal?
True.
But then, following that goal, man, New Zealand attacked.
80 minutes of New Zealand just trying anything and everything that they could to penetrate this back line of Costa Rica.
Yeah.
What virtually happened is Costa Rica said, look, we know we don't have the offense that we used to, which is why I don't rate Costa Rica as highly. And so they said, we're going to have a back seven, and we're just going to see if New Zealand can penetrate us. And ultimately, the answer was no.
The answer was
definitively no.
No.
New Zealand never got a clear-cut chance. They had one goal that was obviously ruled. It was a foul. There was a foul on the build-up to the play.
There were two instances that I think defined the game. The first one was that one that was brought back because of the foul. What did you think about that foul?
I think it was actually the right call. I really do. I think, honestly, not even controversial. You look at the play, it's a foul, and it immediately led to the assist, which led to the goal. So it's completely fair in my opinion.
Yeah, I thought it was fair because the New Zealand player took a dribble that was just a little too long, and the Costa Rican defender got his body in front of the offensive New Zealand player. And once he had that position, I was like, okay, it's his to lose. Yeah. And the New Zealand player just fouled him and brought him down. I'm like, oh, that's a clear foul.
It's clear.
And then the second shift in the game was that red card.
Oh, yeah.
That red card.
Yeah, and it was a substitute too, I think, right? Barbarossa's, I believe. Yeah. And it was such a stupid
It was
lunge.
Stupid, bro. That's a FIFA foul, bro.
Like, you lose the ball, I'm going to fuck this guy up type of foul.
Yeah, bro.
I was so upset, man, because they still had 20 minutes at that point, and I'm just like, you bring on a forward in Barbarossa to try and get a goal, and now he has a red card, and he's out, he's done, and now you're down, and man, gonna make it even harder. Not that they stopped attacking, but that one man's just going to make that difference over 20 minutes, man.
Yeah.
You never know if he's going to pop up open on the top of the box and just smack it in. Now you don't have that player there.
Yeah.
So it's just so frustrating because, you know, obviously I wanted New Zealand to tie it up
That was a prediction.
because I truly thought that they had the ability and the skill set to be better than Costa Rica. And to be completely honest, I thought
they impressed me, man.
At the very end of the day,
won me over a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, bro.
Yeah, man.
Because you said they didn't create a chance. I thought they created a lot of half chances.
A lot of half chances.
A lot.
They did.
But they were smart about how they were building up and like the opportunities they're creating. Chris Wood, I saw Costa Ricans on like a YouTube highlight, like comment section. They were all impressed with Chris Wood. Like they're like, Jesus Christ, this Chris Wood guy, like terrifying in this game. He was incredible,
huge.
man.
He's huge, especially
and they like
Costa Ricans.
they use him the way that he should be used, which is just sending balls in. He can bring them down, control them, and then just a number of times where he had that opportunity, he just couldn't get his foot on that final ball, bro.
Yeah.
But it was stuff like that just kept happening over and over again. I was like, man, it's coming. Thankfully, San Keylor Navas came through and did what he always does for this Costa Rican team. I think he had like two really good saves. I was like, man, if that's another goalkeeper, I don't know. But Navas does it, man.
Now, come the last like 10 minutes of the game, obviously New Zealand were just bombing the box. They were just sending in balls, seeing whatever they could latch onto to just send the ball towards goal. And I will say this, the 2-3 center backs of Costa Rica really put their bodies on the line. They knew what was at stake. They had to. There were several moments where the ball just kind of popped up to a New Zealand player. He just whacked it. But there was always a Costa Rican right in front of him. I will applaud Costa Rica's defending because it was so solid and just it was so rock solid in this game, man. Yeah,
and ultimately I leave on the conclusion that New Zealand played well, man. They played well.
They did.
But Costa Rica was resolute.
Yes.
Resolute. They showed that experience. They showed that maturity that they have. They might not have the talent, and I actually don't think they do, man, because they didn't create any other chance outside of that first opportunity, which was in itself was a half chance, I would say. Campbell was between two defenders, and the bounce of the ball just went the right way for him. Outside of that, bro, not much else.
Yeah. Honestly, what these two final qualifiers show me with Australia and Costa Rica going through is that I think it's clear that Australia and Costa Rica are the two weakest teams at this World Cup. You know, I've been harsh on Morocco. I've said a little bit of shit about like Tunisia as well, but I think it is clear that Costa Rica and Australia are the two weakest teams at this World Cup.
I saw the gambling odds after the Costa Rica game for the final 32, like where each team is ranked in like chances of winning the World Cup. And number 32 was Costa Rica.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, the way that they play, they literally have nothing going forward, which is why I thought that New Zealand would win this game, is because I thought that New Zealand would get at least one. And honestly, I didn't see Costa Rica scoring, maybe getting one, and they eventually did, and that's what got them through. But what this game really showed me, and what this game is testament to, is the legend of Joel Campbell. Bro, he has been Costa Rica's #1 goal scorer. Maybe not in numbers, but as far as when they need a guy to step up in a big game on the World Cup stage, Joel Campbell has done it for now will be 3 straight World Cups.
Jesus Christ,
he was their best player in 2014 when he and Brian Ruiz really linked up. He was the reason why they got all those goals. He was the reason why they were able to go against Italy, Uruguay, England. And then he did the same role in 2018, and he's doing the same role here in 2022. It's honestly impressive how consistent Campbell has been for the last, what will now be 8 years. Seriously, think about it. What other striker on the international stage has been the only guy that you can count on to score a goal?
They don't have any other backup option.
They have nobody else, dude.
There's no one else in that provides at the rate that he does.
No.
I'm thinking right now.
That's what I'm saying. Like
maybe like a Luis Suarez, but he's accompanied by Cavani. Like,
exactly.
There's always been other options.
As far as like true value, not skill set. As far as true value to an international team, I think it needs to be said that Joel Campbell is one of the most valuable players to any international team on this planet, dude. Honestly. And I want the viewers at home, I want everybody to really think about this. There's not a more important player to their team than Joel Campbell, because he does a thankless task.
I do agree with that.
Bro, he barely touches the ball. Barely. He is asked to just be the solo pivot point up top, get the ball when he can, and try to dribble against 4 players.
Yeah.
He has been asked to do that for over 8 years now.
Nearly a decade, bro.
Nearly a decade. And every time
Blue collar, bro.
Dude,
he just shows up.
He's a worker.
He does his job, and that's it.
But he does it at a crazy effective rate.
Yeah.
And it's so impressive because seriously, most strikers who do this job get tired of it, man. And I'm not saying Campbell doesn't get tired of it. You can kind of see, like, especially now in his older age, I think he's like 29 and 30. He can't do it at the same rate that he used to, but he still does it.
Yeah, man. Good point. You gotta. There's a certain grit you gotta have to be able to have that task because another player that reminds me of is Paulo Guerrero.
Yeah.
He'd be the other comparison, I think.
It'd be the other comparison where you just back to goal, create something, you have nobody else around you.
And then you think about European type players like that right now that are often criticized, like Lukaku. I think is a similar role.
Yeah,
but he doesn't. You don't have that grit, bro.
No,
he doesn't.
No. Campbell's grit is honestly
you gotta have. There's like
bro.
a level, like in order to have that job, you gotta have some level of intensity to you.
Yeah,
and he has that, man. Campbell has that. And,
he does.
And yeah, he deserves a little shout out from the give and go in that sense, bro. Because it's a thankless task, man. I remember he was chalking Mexico up in the World Cup qualifiers this past qualifying cycle.
Yeah,
at the Azteca. They would just send long fucking balls up there, and the hopes that they would maintain possession, and either he draws a foul, either he brings it down, or he just causes havoc back there. It slips it to one of his like other teammates, or just does something productive.
He
bro.
does.
So
yeah, what he does out of literally nothing for Costa Rica. It's
and the thing is, it's gonna be utilized even more than ever this upcoming World Cup.
Yeah, man, this is gonna be it for Campbell, bro.
This has to be it, bro.
He's gonna honestly probably retire after that third game because he's gonna
halftime,
be
bro.
dead,
At halftime, he's out, bro.
He's gonna be
dead,
out. Bro.
It's too much, man.
It's too much.
They're gonna ask so much from him.
Yeah,
and I just hope that he can make his country proud as he always has done.
Yeah.
But at the very least, man, it'll be good to see him back on that stage, man. It's another form of recognition.
It's a great form of recognition.
Most people don't know about him.
That's the thing, and that's what sucks. If you look at Campbell's career, man, he's just, he's gotten chopped, he's gotten duped over the course of his whole career, just being on loan for the large majority of his European career. Yeah. Now he's finally getting some sort of praise and recognition in Mexico, thankfully, but. Just this has been Campbell's whole career, man.
Yeah,
this is just the type of player that he is. This is who he is, and if you're Costa Rican, thank God that he is Costa Rican because you can't honestly replicate a player like Campbell.
I haven't seen in a while, bro. I haven't, and so I got to tell you about something that happened to me this past week.
Okay.
I was back. It was a weekend. I'm looking for a little party to get into. I'm looking into some fun, just trying to have a good time, and our friend Daniel hits me up.
Dude, good guy.
He tells me, "Hey, come over to our Airbnb." It's me and 17 other guys. I was like, "Dude, sausage fest? Jesus Christ, dude! What are you inviting me to, man?"
That's how he invites you over. That's his selling point.
Daniel. Yeah, no. And so I show up. It's a bachelor party. It's a bachelor party. Right? I show up, and I don't know anyone there outside of Daniel. Yeah. And so, I make myself at home right away. I start serving myself up a drink. Absolutely. I start just getting my drink ready.
Tequila? What were you drinking?
I did tequila. Yeah. That's usually my go-to. Yeah. And so I'm up there just mixing my drink, and I can feel people staring, bro. People are staring at me in a weird way, bro. I'm just like, I'm a little awkward because. I'm in a situation where I don't know anybody.
You're by yourself.
It's a beautiful Airbnb,
like
big house.
Nice.
I'm just like, shit, man, what's going on, man? Yeah. What the hell's going on? And someone starts like approaching me. I'm like, what the hell did Daniel invite me to?
Yeah,
I get my ass beat up, bro. And this guy comes up to me and he goes, "You're that TikTok guy, aren't you?"
No way.
And immediately I'm just like, Daniel told you,
Hands
didn't
up.
he? Yeah. I'm like, did my friend tell you? Like, what are you talking about? Me, TikTok guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, dude. He's like, your curly hair gave it away. I was like, huh.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, man. And he pulls out his phone and he starts scrolling through his TikTok, and we show up like on his feed.
Oh wow.
I'm like, what the hell, bro? He's like, yeah, man, love this show, love everything about you guys. Like, I actually want to start a podcast I've always wanted to like do a soccer podcast. So it's cool to see you guys do it. They were wondering where you were at. I told them that you were out, but
out of the state.
The biggest thing that shocked me was just being recognized like that. I've never been recognized like that outside. And if any of our viewers ever see us in person, man, let us know.
Yeah,
Be
come
happy
dab
to
us up.
play.
Come give me a hug. Man.
We need a hug out here, bro. And the biggest thing that stood out to me was that he goes, "Where's your friend?" And I'm like, "He's out. He's not here right now." And he's like, "He's an El Salvador fan, right?" And I go,
Kind of.
Yeah,
nah.
kind of.
I respect their hustle.
And then he's like, "What do you mean, kind of?" And I say, well, like he like respects El Salvador, right? Like he went to an El Salvador game, he saw them, and he respects them. Same with like Costa Rica, like he like respects Costa Rica, you know, like he supports them, but he's not like a fan, but he supports them. And the guy was obviously buzzing, but he didn't get it.
He's like, what are you?
He's like, he actually said to me, he's like, "I've never met a Mexican that supports El Salvador," and I was like,
well, actually, I could see that.
That's true.
He's not wrong.
I haven't.
He's not.
I
wrong.
haven't.
Yeah, you're right. He's not
and
wrong.
so it got me thinking. I'm like, man, our viewers really need a clarification segment, a segment where we just state who we support, our approach to football, and what it means for us to show, you know, appreciation for a team, and just kind of defining what we are, what we've grown up to be in the soccer world. And just clearing things up, man. So what I want to do first is just, if anything, start off by pointing out the teams that we support, that we are fans of.
I can do that.
And so, you know, to start, I'll say that when it comes to the MLS, I always say I'm an Austin FC fan.
Yeah.
You know, it's my hometown, new team. I support them. That's my squad. When it comes to Mexico, Chivas all the day till the day that I die. I grew up a Chivas fan. My father was a Chivas fan. I come from a long line of Chivas fans.
Yeah, you do.
So I am a Chivas fan.
Yeah.
Then of course that means that internationally I support Mexico. That's the team that I have fought and I will die for one day. Is Mexico. And then when it comes to Europe, a few years back, and I truly mean this, you were there to vouch for me, before they blew up, I began supporting Liverpool.
That is true.
They called upon me. And their support, the song they sing before every match, "You'll Never Walk Alone," just hit me somewhere very deep. And I've been a fan of them ever since it was 2015, a while back.
No, yeah. I remember.
So that's all support when it comes to Europe. And then that's really it when it comes to football. That is it. Yeah. Any other team that I show support for is in the sense of showing gratitude, showing love, giving those people attention, because not everyone gets that kind of attention. If you ever see me out here hyping up Guatemala, is because we have so many Guatemalans that watch the show that never get that love for their team. So I'm trying to channel that for them. Right. So that's where my approach to this podcast is, and what it means for me to show love for other teams. But when it comes down to it, I am a Mexico fan.
So for me, hometown MLS, I'm going to go FC Dallas, honestly. Yep. I started watching them when Mauro Diaz was just popping off on the league. He was one of the best creative midfielders in the league. Dallas till I die, as they say. As far as Liga MX is concerned, I've been a die-hard León fan ever since 2012 is when I started supporting them. No affiliation to Guanajuato, actually, none. My family is based from Chihuahua, so if we want to go that, technically Juarez has a team now, but I don't really support them. Not even close to the way that I support León. And when it comes to European club soccer, it's the one and only for me, Atletico Madrid. Yeah. I started watching them also around the same time that I found León. I started watching them in 2012. Damn. And I've been a die-hard fan for Atletico, so much so that I will be a colchonero literally for the rest of my life. If I ever have kids, I'm going to buy them little Atletico jerseys.
That's going to be nice,
man. Yeah, man. Like, I'm going to take them to the Wanda.
Can't wait for that, bro.
Take my family to the Wanda.
And name your daughter Wanda, too?
Exactly, bro. No, for real. So that's how important Atletico is to me as far as fan viewership goes. And at the international stage, obviously, I do support both the U.S. and Mexico, since, my heritage is Mexican, as my parents were born there, but I myself was born in the States. So I do root for both. I know that can get a little weird at times, but honestly, I'm able to make it work. And then the other team that I truly, truly loved more than both the U.S. and Mexico was Costa Rica. They're my first international team that I was like, oh, I want to be a part of this country. Like, I wish I wasn't American. I wish I wasn't Mexican. I wish I was Costa Rican to be to fully be a part of what they were building.
Let's dissect that a little bit more so people can understand it. Like, there's a lot of Mexican Americans out here. I'm Mexican American, but I chose one. How can you navigate two sides of a coin that don't get along whatsoever?
It exists. Yeah. Like the idea that there's a Mexican American that do root for both, it exists because they're culturally Hispanic, but they grew up American, right? So it can be done. Obviously, though, the diehards, there is no in between. It's one side or the other. The thing is, I understand it. I completely get all aspects of soccer, football, whatever you want to call it. I completely understand when people are like, look, you can only pick one. Right. I completely get it. But that's just not how I view the sport. When I talk about random teams, like, for example, when I first found Costa Rica or Canada right now, or hell, even Tunisia or Saudi Arabia, who's been building for a good 6 years now. When I talk about these teams and have true appreciation for them, it's because what I do is I try to completely remove bias. I love the sport not because of the culture, not because of the fans, not because of the history of the clubs. When I see a team, I solely look at the 11 players that all are out there playing against another 11. I truly love the sport so much that honestly, you could just call it Team A and Team B, and I'll be like, oh, I like how Team B plays. Yeah. I completely remove all bias, and I look at technique. I looked at tactic. I looked at how the staff orients themselves. I look at the formation that a team uses to attack another team. And then on top of that, I look at flair. I look at how a player touches a ball. I look at how a player crosses a ball, how a player is able to dribble, a player's capability. I look at all of those things. I remove history. I remove color, honestly. Like, it doesn't matter. I love the way that
you're a purist, man. I love the sport for what it is.
I love the sport for exactly what it is, which is just kicking the ball around and trying to put it in between the two sticks in the back of the net. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and it's funny because I think there's a number of people that are like that, but I surprisingly am not like that. I'm more find my pleasure in viewing the sport through a different lens, which is the impact that a sport can have almost emotionally. For me, it's fascinating that for 1 month, politics, money, economy, love, hate, racism, classism, capitalism, everything can be removed for 1 month and just bring people together, all gathered around this one sport, which is football. Sometimes I even question myself. I was like, if football wasn't football, if football was like, I don't know, if there was like some meeting every 4 years where it just, for some reason, everyone puts everything aside and just focuses in on that meeting, would I be as passionate about that as I am about football? Because I love football for what it's capable of doing on a global and emotional scale. And then you do throw in the other aspects of it, which I love, which is just the gameplay, the style of it, the way that you can express yourself, how a football field is a canvas.
It really is.
And you can paint whatever you want on it, and everybody, no matter who you are, no matter how fundamental you are or how much flair you have, you will always play differently from the person next to you. Every single person in this world has a different gameplay and style to them, and I just think that's fascinating, bro.
Actually, that's such a great way to view the game, because that's actually why I got into it. So I grew up on basketball. It was NBA. Ball was life at that point. I go outside every day after school and I just shoot. Gotta fix my jumper. Gotta drive better. You know, gotta be a better player. You know, then my height stumped, and I was like, oh, I guess that's why there's no Mexicans in the NBA, bro. So I was like, all right, well, I can at least enjoy it from the TV, you know what I mean? And so I witnessed Dallas go to the finals in 2006. I witnessed them ultimately lifting it in 2011. I was a diehard Masson. I caught every single home game. But then the moment I laid my eyes on football, on soccer, I was like, it's time for me to say goodbye to basketball.
Damn.
And that I did. And I completely gave myself to the sport of soccer because I knew deep down, I was like, this is what I've been waiting for. This is something that I want for the rest of my life. I want to fully involve myself in this sport because I love basketball, but this is who I am. And from there, it was curtains. I just started doing my research, watching every game, understanding the facets, the idea that there's leagues in South America, leagues in Europe, leagues in North America, leagues in Africa, everywhere, around the whole globe, and that they can all come together and have a World Cup. That's mind-boggling to someone who only watches American sports. People can get it, but they don't fully grasp the actual weight of what a World Cup even means. And And so you bring a great point about how we can come together every 4 years, and it's just these, you take everything away and it's just this one sport that's the only thing that matters. And that's what really drew me to this sport, was because there's true equity when a game starts. It's 0-0, and the hardest thing to do in soccer is score a goal. And so no matter how bad you are, there's always a slight chance that you can do something. Always. Whereas like in American sports, it's more about it's more about quantity, right? In basketball, the average score is like 100 to 120 points, meaning the ball goes through the net at least 60 times, 50 to 60 times. So it's not about moments in American sports. It's more about numbers or rate, efficiency.
Yeah.
It's a more statistical approach to sports. Whereas soccer, statistics can mean something, but
not in the way.
Not in the way.
MLB was built on statistics, like with Moneyball and like people taking their stat pass. NBA is really big on statistics right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And football as well.
Because it is, though.
Yeah, American football. And because it is, because you can actually associate numbers to like actual performances and results. It's kind of crazy.
Exactly. I mean, that's why Derek White completely went to sleep in the last 3 games, because he completely outdid his numbers in those first 3 games for the Celtics. And so statistically speaking, he had no choice but to stop scoring.
Yeah.
And
but then you look at
you can't say that in soccer.
Yeah, in soccer, that's why there's such a big debate around expected goals. That stat.
Yeah.
It's so polarized, because so many people buy into it and others don't. Like, shun it. They don't want to hear shit about it. And both sides are right. Like there really is no, like, some could say there's a correlation, and others could say that just doesn't make any sense. So
exactly,
it's fascinating. But I think something we got to point out, man, is that you didn't just play basketball growing up. You played a little bit of soccer.
Played a little soccer.
And to be more specific, you were right behind me, man. As I was up there up front growing up, I played 2 positions growing up. I played forward and I played goalkeeper. And when I was up top, taking care of the responsibility of carrying a U7 team to a title, I would always look behind me, and I would have Soltero feeding me balls from that fullback position, man.
Left fullback.
Active. A really good, just fundamental player, I would say.
Oh yeah, I had no creativity.
No, or flair, but
none.
But just
absolutely none.
Yeah.
I can pass straight, and I was really good at defending.
Yes,
that's about it.
Yeah. Which is all that was asked from you, man. You just handed it up to me. I had an incredible winger at the time. His name was Braulio, and this kid, you could just hand the ball off to him. This kid would just do magic, man, magic. But then afterwards, I transitioned into more of a goalkeeping role, and that's where I honestly found most success. I'm gonna be honest with it, the goalkeeping possession.
Hell of a keeper, man.
Yeah,
hell of a keeper.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. You mean that? I can tell you mean that. I remember one day you're like, bro, if you didn't stop playing goalkeeper, you honestly could have been like a 3rd division, like, college goalkeeper.
No. I said 3rd division pro keeper.
Pro. That's what it was. 3rd division pro. I was like, yo, low key, man. Honestly, man, I had something.
And then you could work your way up to 2nd.
I could work my way up.
Easily.
Maybe by then, you never know, man.
You never know.
And last thing to clarify is just how we know each other. People think we're related, which we actually aren't, like, blood-wise.
Blood-wise, we're not related.
Blood-wise,
but in the slightest.
No, but his parents and my parents were good friends, and in the town that we grew up in, they both moved there, I think, around the same time.
Yeah.
And so they got to know each other. His parents are my godparents through religion.
Yeah.
But we started hanging out. It was because we played football together. That
also too. And we would go to like your birthday parties.
Yeah,
growing up.
And then like we'd go to the same school. We were in the same grade. Like it just kind of it was all set up.
It was all like easy for us to always see each other. At least like once a month growing up.
Yeah.
And then we just finally started hanging out once we were in college.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then after that, this happened. So that's how we know each other. We're not related, but we're really good friends. I would even say a best friend, or at this point, he's a brother, bro.
Yeah, we're brothers, man.
And so I think that's it for clarifications, man. I don't know what else people want to know, but anything else y'all want to know, man, slide me a DM and I'll tell you, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
I keep thinking about it, man. I'm struggling, man. I need help here.
What's on your mind?
Sadio Mane going from Liverpool to Bayern.
Okay.
Sadio Mane, who was just in a Champions League final, crucial part of Liverpool's ride to the Champions League final once again. And he decides to do this transfer move after 6 years at Liverpool, reaching the heights and the peaks of his career, winning all the trophies that he could possibly win. And then he chooses to go to Bayern. And I'm struggling here because I just don't see what he gets at Bayern that he wouldn't get at Liverpool. Because keep in mind, this move, Sadio Mane leaving Liverpool when he's 30 years old, by the way. Not 33, not 34, 35. He's 30 years old. Him leaving Liverpool is something that a player would do for the Liverpool teams of the 2000s when they were in that 6th, 7th Premier League spot.
Yeah.
Not a Liverpool team that's arguably a top 3 team in the world, maybe even top 2.
Yeah.
And yet he decides to do this. And I'm so curious because I think about him at Bayern in Germany, playing against Augsburg, playing against Hamburg, playing against Hertha Berlin. And I'm just like, I just can't envision it. I can't see it.
You want that, Sadio?
Yeah, I
like,
just can't see it.
that? Yeah.
And then having him, especially Sadio, who you can make a true argument, or maybe it's not even an argument, maybe it's already known, that he is a more clinical player for Liverpool in big games.
Yeah.
In the big games, when it really matters the most, it's him that comes up for the team rather than like Mo Salah. Yeah. And he's only going to get a few big games a year now at Bayern.
That's true.
And so I saw an English pundit, get crucified on TalkSport because he was making the point that Sadio Mane is ruining the best years of his life by going to Bayern. And obviously people saw it and they're like, oh, it's just English media. They think they're the best in the world and that they're salty that a player would just leave the league. But it's not that, man. I think he actually has a genuine point of Sadio Mane still is a top 10 talent in the world and is refusing to play for a top 2 team in the world. And that's so weird to me, man, especially with the history he has at the club, with what he's been able to achieve, the challenges he would face there still. And I really can't chalk it up to anything else outside of like, he's just kind of bored of it. And he just wants to change the scenery. And it's been 6 years in England. Why not go to Germany and just do something different?
Win a different title. Win a different title. Be in a different, exactly. Win a different type of title. The way that I saw this whole Sadio Mane saga kind of just end up, it was all kind of sudden. But I mean, a lot of Liverpool transfers honestly are. There's no drama surrounding Liverpool transfers, at least not recently, man. It's just it either exists or it doesn't. Yeah. But the way I saw this Mane transfer is very, very similar to Cristiano Ronaldo's transfer away from Madrid to Juventus. And the reason why I bring that up is because Ronaldo was Madrid. He was Real Madrid for 8 years. He was arguably one of the most impactful players. He was Ballon d'Or after Ballon d'Or during his time at Real Madrid. He was impactful on the pitch. He won titles with them, big ones at that, Champions League after Champions League. And then all of a sudden, after he won his Champions League, he was just like, all right, I'm gonna leave. I'm just gonna leave. But the reason why I think Ronaldo left, I don't think it's a surprise to anybody, it's because he kind of knew his age. He knew that he was rearing in his 30s, right? He was young 30s, playing for a top club in the world, and that ultimately when he would have to renew his contract, he was going to get less money. He was going to get the veteran contract, if you will. Yeah. Even though it's Cristiano Ronaldo, he was dealing with a beast like Real Madrid. And even though the two were synonymous for so long, Madrid always do business first. Mm-hmm. And they knew that, look, they know. They have lawyers. They have agents who are like, okay, Ronaldo's going to be 31, 32. We're going to have to offer him less money. It doesn't matter if he's scoring the same. It doesn't matter if he's still as impactful as he was a year before. The difference, he's a year older now. So contractually, statistically, it's like giving insurance to a young person driving a car. Yeah. They have to offer him, in this case, less money. So I feel like Mane went through the same process. He's like, I'm playing with one of the best clubs in the world. I'm now, 30 years old? I need to get out of here before my money situation just completely goes out the shitter. He had to do this, not from a legacy point of view, not from a point of view of like, oh, I want to play in the best league with the best competition. But he's honestly, and rightfully so, I thought just looking out for himself. He's like, look, I know my age. I know that once I have to renew my contract, Liverpool are going to offer me less money. So might as well get my mass contract that I can now and go to Bayern. Yeah. That's how I saw this. But it just sucks because that's how football is now. Yeah. That's how it is. It's completely run by money, man.
Yeah, man, we're never going to see a Steph Curry type situation where one player is at the same club for the entirety of their careers
because of that.
Once it reaches a point, you have to. It's like you have to go somewhere else. That's why there was such an acceptance Ronaldo leaving Madrid to Sadio leaving Liverpool. It's just like, yeah, it's time.
It's time. Even though that's so sad, because you're right. That's such a good point. Imagine if Curry was like, okay, I'm 32 now. I have to leave Golden State. Like, you're kidding me. You're kidding me.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what this is. That's exactly what Ronaldo's transfer to Juve. And Ronaldo still ended up being the top goal scorer in Italy. He lost nothing personally, but he had to do it because the way that the top clubs in Europe run businesses, they have to look for the next best young thing.
Yeah.
They have to.
That's true.
And the only way to do that is to take money from your older players.
Yeah. So, I guess 3 years from now, it looks better to have a 27-year-old Darwin Nunez instead of a 33-year-old Sadio Mane.
Exactly. And then at that point, if they're doing really bad, they cannot blame it on, we should have sold Mane earlier. Now it's just like, Nunez wasn't as good as he was supposed to be.
Right. And
you'd rather it be like that than like, damn it, we should have sold Mane when he was already getting old.
Yeah.
It's much easier pill to swallow if you're running a club.
Yeah, and I think that's what's happening with Salah's contract too right now, where it still hasn't been finalized, and there's just this air around Liverpool where it's like, what are y'all gonna renew it or not? What's going on? So yeah, business is business, bro.
It's business.
All right, folks. So we posted on our Instagram story that if you had a question for us this week, you send a video DM instead of just a straight DM. And man, did we have some great questions, man. Yeah. Our community is great to finally see a face on all the people that watch us. Yeah. And it's just beautiful to see, man. It's just like the sport of football. Yeah. The give and go is so diverse, and it's a beautiful thing that we're all united by one singular thing. And so we're here to answer your questions now, and man, I'm hyped, man. So let's get right into it. This is our first question.
So my football-related question for you guys is, do you think that all of the Division II teams in the Power 5 leagues are better than the MLS?
Okay.
Love this question.
Yeah.
Simply because it's so fun to play with the idea of you just take one random team and you pit them against a team that's on a completely different continent, man. Yeah. That's why we love the Club World Cup. It's like the only time that you can see a team from Mexico pit themselves against a team from the Premier League.
Yeah.
And so I've actually thought about this before. I've always wondered, like, what if you take a second division European team? How would they fare like in Mexico, for example? Yeah. And you kind of see in domestic cups, but it's always within its own system. Ultimately, I think let's take the best second division team that hasn't been promoted yet, right? So it's like middle of the season or towards the end of the season. And let's pit them against like the best MLS team. I think the best MLS team would win. Yeah. And I think they would win probably the majority of the time. I'm not saying it would be an easy wash for the game, but I do think that the MLS team would win. I mean, take Austin FC, for example. Not that they're the best MLS team right now, but
top six.
Yeah, exactly. You look at some of their top players. You have Maxi Urruti, who's honestly pretty ruthless in front of goal. But then you have Cecilio Dominguez, whose resume includes America, one of the biggest clubs on this side of the pond. And then you have Sebastian Driussi, who played Champions League football for Zenit St. Petersburg. Championship teams or second division teams don't have players like that.
That's true.
They don't.
Yeah.
And so
I would say outside of the championship.
Yeah. Outside of the
of England,
even in the championship,
after the top five, it's like
complete. Yeah, it's a complete wash at that point. So I think they'd be able to compete, but the best MLS teams I think would always outdo even the best second div teams. Now we could talk about, like, let's say mid-tier MLS teams, and I think at that point the best second div teams would. Even then, I'm not saying they'd dominate, but I think it'd be closer, maybe more 50-50. Yeah. One team wins, the other team wins the other. But yeah, I mean, worst MLS teams, obviously I think they'd always lose against the best second div teams.
Against the best, yeah.
Yeah, against the best.
But I think it's got to be comparative. Does the worst MLS team lose to like the worst championship team?
In that case,
that's where I think
I'd say no.
And here's the thing. I wanted to put numbers to this. So first off, to define the top five powerhouses, just to make sure, we're talking about England, Spain, France, Italy, Germany.
That's how I think.
Yeah, that's what I thought. On 538, they have a world club rankings where they use all types of analytics, almost like the often criticized the FIFA rankings.
This complicated algorithm.
And it's a whole algorithm that they have, and it does produce some funky results, but still, it's the only site that does it. And so I still put a little bit of merit to it because some stuff makes sense. Yeah. And so on this site, I looked up where does the where does the top MLS side rank, where the top French second division teams rank, and I'm going to go through them for you. I'm going to show you the top 2 teams from each country.
Oh, okay.
And where they rank.
Yeah.
Germany's second division, Bundesliga 2. Up top, you have Schalke 04 at the 179th rank.
Yeah.
179. And then you have Hamburg at 181.
Sure.
Interesting, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Italy, you have Monza at 203, and then Lecce at 283. So we're in the 200s here. So far, Germany's higher at like the 180 range.
Damn.
Then you have Spain, who has Almeria at 254,
Yeah.
and then Valladolid at 275. So even worse.
They really don't rate those
They
Spanish.
don't like the Spanish teams, bro.
Okay. But I mean, honestly, yeah, they're probably going to get relegated next year.
And then in France, the top 2 teams that are second division teams are Toulouse at 131, and then Auxerre at 289.
Yeah.
So Toulouse, the highest one so far, 131.
131.
Then you have England in the championship. Fulham, who just got promoted, is at 76.
Okay.
And Bournemouth is at 107. Nottingham Forest is at 117.
No, I think that's fair.
Yeah,
Put
no,
the championship.
think it's
Championship's
fair.
always going to be a little bit
top,
better.
top. These are the 3 teams that got promoted. So, like,
Yeah,
it makes sense. They're going to be in the Prem next year. And now we have the MLS. And for the MLS, the top 2 teams are New York City FC and LAFC. New York City FC is at 121, and LAFC is at 147. That would then suggest that the MLS top 2 teams are better than Germany's, better than Italy's, better than Spain, and even better than France, with the only exception being England and being those teams that were promoted to the Premier League.
Right.
Interesting, man.
I think it makes sense. Again, I do think that it'd be closer actually on paper if you were to pit, for example, Nottingham Forest right now against LAFC.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a lot
I think
closer
it's a lot
than
closer,
with
man. I think it'd be so fun to actually have that hypothetical matchup happen.
Bro, I'd love that.
It'd be amazing,
I'd
man.
love that. I've always thought, just as a fun thought experiment, like if I was a billionaire, and like I would have a fun summer tournament.
Yeah.
And I would invite all 20 Premier League teams and all 20 La Liga teams, and I would have the first place team play the first place team all the way down to we have the 20th place team play the 20th place team. And then that way you could definitively say which league is better.
Dude.
It would be able to be settled. Because so many people are like, La Liga's better, Premier League's better. But you would be able to definitively say, you'd say, who won more in this tournament?
Yeah.
It'd be so cool to have.
Man.
Hey guys, my name's Rafael, big fan of the show.
What's up,
as you
Rafael?
know, the Warriors just won their 4th NBA title in the last 8 years, and there's all this talk about dynasty going around. I was just wondering who you guys thought is the biggest dynasty in football history, both on the international stage and at club level. And do you see any other team in the near future forming their own dynasty, going on a run like Madrid did in the last 10 years? So, yeah, just wanted to get you guys' thoughts on the matter, and thanks for taking my question.
Dude, I love dynasty talk, man.
Yeah,
dynasty because that's the biggest, the upper echelon, the royalty of sports.
Yeah.
Is the dynasty. There is no other dynasty as big in football than Real Madrid in the last 10 years.
I agree.
The last 10 years, what Real Madrid has been able to do in the modern era of football is unprecedented and the ultimate achievement, I think. So when it comes to success, I would compare the Warriors' success to Real Madrid's. I mean, Warriors were 4-8. Real Madrid is 5-10. We're talking about Champions Leagues.
Yeah.
But I think there's a more accurate comparison
Yeah.
outside of Madrid in the past 10.
Okay.
Because I think something that really distinguishes Golden State a lot is that they weren't a dynasty that was built through acquiring players. They did it very organically.
Yes.
Through the draft. The players that they got stuck with the team throughout the duration of their runs and have found a way to be there even now.
Yeah.
And I think a more fair comparison would be the slightly smaller dynasty that was the Barcelona teams from 2009 to 2012.
Yeah.
Because a big just selling point of that Barca team was the fact that there were so many La Masia graduates in that starting 11. There was even there was a game, I looked it up the other day, in 2012 versus Levante. It was the first time that the Barcelona fielded a team solely compiled of La Masia graduates. You had Victor Valdez, Montoya, Piqué, Puyol, Jordi Alba, Xavi, Busquets, Fabregas, Pedro, Messi, and Iniesta.
Wow.
All homegrown players, bro. All homegrown, man.
God.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That'll never happen
I don't think
again.
it'll happen again.
That'll never happen
not
again.
at that level.
At any country at that level.
Now, it might happen like in some like League One English side that like
that's all they
homegrown
have.
English kids.
They have no choice.
But it'll never be at this level of quality, man. And I think that's a more fair comparison because it's just so organic. That is so like it's equivalent to how Golden State built their team, and they achieved success as well. So that to me is the best comparison. But then Rafa asked, in the future, who's a future dynasty in the making? And for me, the most clear-cut answer, although it's a little controversial because they haven't achieved it on the European level, is Manchester City. Domestically, they are a dynasty.
Domestically, Manchester City has honestly, for me, reached that dynasty level in the modern era.
Yeah.
I think they've won it, like the past...
4 out of the last 5.
4 out of the last 5, yeah, exactly. 4 out of the last 5 years. So Manchester City definitely on that trajectory. Absolutely.
It has to be them. And they just got to get that European silverware, and they'll be up in that conversation, I think. But congratulations to the Golden State Warriors.
Continuing that dynasty.
Man.
Talking about domestic dynasties, though, if we just real quick,
Sure.
Bayern Munich, I think, are on a path where they have no contenders in the near future. As in, I don't see Bayern Munich losing the Bundesliga in the next 5 years, and they've already won it 10 times in a row.
Yeah.
I think they've won it 10 in a row already. The last team to win it was maybe Dortmund. Honestly, I don't remember. It was Dortmund because Klopp did it, but almost did it with the Champions League, but couldn't.
I know Stuttgart won it with Pavel Pardo in 2006.
Exactly.
Shit, but
so Bayern Munich are on a trajectory to do something completely unprecedented, in my opinion, to where they're just going to keep winning domestic titles. Yeah. And nobody's going to stop them. Nobody.
Yeah.
Honestly.
The Bundesliga is just fine with it.
Yeah, exactly. And what? Because you think about Dortmund, they've had some incredible teams, honestly, in these last 10 years. They've had some very good players, and they've played some electric football, but that still hasn't even been good enough. Leipzig, at one point, was probably the second best team, and at one point, for like a split second, was the best team in Germany, but over the course of that 34-game season, they cannot compete with Bayern Munich. And I just don't see them making big enough moves. I don't see anybody else in that league making big enough moves and playing the right style of football to beat a team like Bayern, man. Not over the course of 34 games. So I think Bayern honestly might win 20 in a row. And like in any sport,
that doesn't sit right with me, man.
That's the thing, though. Like even in the most corrupt leagues, I don't even know if that happens.
Yeah, I don't think 20 in a row.
20 in a row doesn't happen, but I honestly don't see Bayern losing over the next 3 to 5 years. And at that point, they'll be at 15, man. Who's to say they don't go for another 5?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, though. Even 15 is
unfathomable, man. Imagine that in the Prem, bro.
Exactly.
I wouldn't sit right with people.
Right, because even Juventus, when they had their dynasty, they finally have fallen off. Finally.
Yeah.
And I don't really see Juventus winning anytime soon. And even the Premier League, where City's dominating.
Man
there's
United
always
once
contenders.
But it was still not to the level at a Bayern that a Bayern team is
exactly. So you talk about dynasties at that club level. I don't think Bayern has anybody else that even comes close to their dynasty.
Yeah.
Man.
And then the last part of his question was internationally.
National stage, yeah.
That one got me thinking, man, because international dynasties are completely different.
Man.
They're much shorter. I would say the Spanish dynasty was one.
That's the one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
When they won 3 consecutive international titles.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that really comes to mind as far as just domination over the course of more than 2 years.
Or just the other one I would point out is Brazil, but that's like a dynasty throughout history. Yeah. They show up at every single World Cup and they make these deep runs, and it's just they're a dynasty throughout the period of time.
Yeah, no, absolutely though.
So my question for the podcast and to the community watching, who are you guys in training? Like, I know how kids were back in the day. They used to say, I'm Ronaldinho, or I'm Maradona, I'm Zidane, I'm Ronaldo. Or like now, I'm hearing a lot of kids say, Encara Messi, Encara Messi, and all that. Who are you guys in training?
What a fun question, man.
That's fun as hell, man.
What a fun question. I'm former Everton captain Leighton Baines. I'm bombing down that side as a fullback, but I'm not too creative.
Not at all,
I'm
man.
not creative,
Not at all,
but
man.
I will defend with my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And I'll also captain the side from that back side, man. That's who I am. I'm Leighton Baines. I even got, if I wanted to, I could grow out my sideburns, man. I'm Leighton Baines.
Bro, I'm Ruben Sambuesa, bro. I'm trying some crazy shit once I'm
Yeah.
on the ball, and if
Okay.
you say some shit to me, I'm talking back, bro. I'm talking back. I'm talking so much shit. I'm arguing every call. I'm fucking saying that the ball is mine every single time, and I'm just active, man. I'm creative as hell, and it doesn't make any fucking sense. But I bring this energy to the pitch that people got to invite me back on again.
That's the thing.
man.
You can't ignore you.
You can't ignore me,
can't.
man.
They're like, shit, we got to let him
Yeah,
play.
Some people are just like, damn it, who invited this fucking guy? But bro, I'm playing, bro.
You're appreciated.
I'm pre.
In some shape
Yeah.
or form that you're needed.
I'm needed, man. I'm needed. I'm part of it. And so, dude, that's who I am. But honestly, when I thought about this, I was like, who are the kids saying they are now? And I think the biggest one has to be Mbappe. I think kids everywhere.
I feel like kids or just people in general are still enamored with Ronaldo Messi.
Oh, for sure.
So
for
I
sure.
feel like they're still just like that.
No,
you know?
I do think that, but I think from the younger players to select from, it's got to be Mbappe.
Oh, yeah.
I can like just see kids just saying like Mbappe. Obviously, it's Messi, Ronaldo, even like Zlatan. I could see being a big name out there.
Yeah. Like the tall kid.
The tall
Yeah,
kid is
yeah,
just Zlatan. But yeah, man, I need to go out there, man. I need to see what these kids are saying nowadays. Right?
Congratulations on your podcast.
Thank you.
I want to know who's the best Argentinian player, excluding Maradona and Messi.
This is great.
This is an awesome
This
question.
is great. This is what the Give and Go's about, man.
Yeah, absolutely. May I? Yeah.
You have the floor.
Okay. I think I would say this. You take out Maradona, you take out Messi. I really do think there's one player that has had the impact on the international stage, that has had the resume at club level, and that has just been the go-to, in my opinion, offensively for Argentina for a long period, for a very long period. I would say at least the course of 10 years. Sure. I think there's one player that comes to mind, and it is the player that I would say is the next best Argentine outside of Maradona and Messi, and that is Angel Di Maria.
Oh,
Yep.
Okay.
Angel Di Maria won the Champions League with Real Madrid, was the reason why they beat Atletico in 2014. Obviously, Ramos equalized, but in that extra time, it was Di Maria who just harassed that backside of Atletico. It's like he was just off the bench, but he wasn't. He was playing the entire game, and he was just sprinting like crazy. But that's the beauty of Di Maria, is that he couples extreme pace and speed with godlike skill. And I don't think there's a lot of players out there like Di Maria who have the craft, the vision, but also just the skill set that Di Maria has. The top assist man with PSG of all time.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Over 100 caps with Argentina. For me, it's clear that it's Angel Di Maria who is the next best Argentine. And the thing is, it's not to say that there haven't been other greats.
It's very likely there's great contenders.
We can talk about Gonzalo Higuain, even obviously Kun Agüero, who have achieved massive things for their club. We can talk about midfielders. I think more recently, I say Ever Banega has been immense for this Argentine squad when he was in his prime.
He's good.
The way that his vision was, there was no other midfielder who could really pair up with him.
Yeah.
They needed Banega when he was in his prime. And then you talk about
Mascherano. Mascherano is a huge one.
Mascherano is a really big one too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But when I think about impact, when I think about over the course of 10 years, who has been that go-to guy when Messi might be off, Agüero might be off, who's been more consistent? For me, it's Di Maria, honestly. Even Carlos Tevez has been...
Tevez is another one.
Tevez has an insane resume at club level, scoring hundreds of goals over the course of his career. But impact-wise, I don't think Tevez, Agüero, Higuain, even Lavezzi was very, very good when in his prime. All of those players put together, I don't think were as impactful as Di Maria is for the last 10 years for this Argentine squad, man. And Di Maria's resume at club level can easily compete with everyone that I just said.
Dude, no, yeah, that's actually a great one that I won't even argue it. My player is a different selection, but I won't argue that, man. You made some great points, and Di Maria is almost one of those players that I feel like he hasn't gotten those flowers, man.
Yeah,
he hasn't gotten those flowers. But
Yeah.
even that insane highlight he had in that game against France in this last World Cup, that beautiful long range goal that he made.
Yeah.
He's actively one of Argentina's best offensive players and creators.
Yes.
And I think
Yes,
a lot of
dude.
it's just overshadowed by a better version of him in Messi.
Exactly, bro.
Yeah, but that's what it
Exactly.
takes.
That's what it takes.
That's what it takes. I think other players worth mentioning are like Hernan Crespo, who was a great striker for them, dominated the 2000s. Gabriel Bautista is a famous name for Argentina. Alfredo Di Stefano, that's an
Yeah.
all-timer. But, it's a different era. But
Different era.
Different era.
And he technically ended up playing for Spain because Argentina didn't want him.
Yeah. Mario Kempes, Javier Zanetti is
Yeah.
another one. For me, though, I decided this question not based on resume, because if you compare the resume of this player to yours, I don't think it'd match up fully.
Okay.
But more so in aesthetics, man. This is
Yeah.
a player that is a beautiful assessment to the game, beautiful vision, just an incredible type of player. That player is Juan Román Riquelme.
Yeah.
Who-
Yeah, absolutely.
If you ask any Boca Juniors fan, will say is one of their greatest players to ever play at the club.
Yes.
He played in the enganche role. He was that connection between the midfield and the attack.
Yeah.
The heavy responsibility that gives to a player to essentially be the creative player on the pitch, feed your teammates, score goals, create opportunities. Riquelme did this at the highest level. And what I love about him, bro, is that so many times do we see players of that caliber go from playing in South America to then going to Europe and having these long careers.
Yeah.
But there's something about Riquelme that just gives me such an OG vibe, because he tested Europe. He went. He played for Barcelona at first, and it didn't work out because at the time Louis van Gaal was the coach, and apparently it was reported that they didn't get along well. He didn't like his signing, but he went for $10 million in 2002. That's a shit ton of money back then, bro.
That's a lot.
That's a high value on a player.
Yeah.
He then makes the move to Villarreal. He took Villarreal in 2003 to third place in La Liga, right behind Real Madrid and Barcelona.
Yeah.
And they even made the semis in the Champions League.
Yeah.
It's like, that's crazy,
Yeah.
man. That's the last time they did it. And so he had a great career there, and then he goes back to Boca, just goes back home.
Yeah.
And he sets himself as an all-timer there. He has an insane highlight reel. I truly do suggest people go look at his passing highlight reel. He has the same exact vision
I
as
need to
Messi,
do
bro.
that. I need to
He's
do
same
that.
exact vision. He's a little taller than Messi, but he's so smart. I feel like he's the type of player that if you were playing against him, bro, he'd be such a pain in the ass, because
You never
you
get him.
give him a little bit of space and he just finds a gap between you and one of his teammates and just feeds that ball straight through there,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
Almost like I don't know why, but I compare him to like Ginobili for the Spurs. Creative,
Okay. Crafty.
crafty.
Yeah.
Didn't score in bunches like Ginobili did either. Like
you're right. Yeah.
6th man of all time. But
Yeah.
Riquelme was so good at what he did, so efficient, and also his free kick highlight reel is insane, man. He's just an
Specialist.
insane mixtape this guy has, and for me, he's the third best. The third best for me.
Yeah.
But I love the question because it takes out the two biggest
Yes,
talking points
exactly.
for Argentina, and it actually
Exactly.
does leave a really good pool of players to pick from, man.
Yeah.
If you're an Argentina fan, you're spoiled, bro. You're spoiled by talent, man.
We didn't even mention Juan Sebastián Verón.
No.
Pablo Aymar. Jesus, man.
No.
Spoiled.
Yeah, bro.
Congrats on the podcast.
Thank you, brother.
Podcast, guys. Honestly, the best podcast I've seen. And I'm going to tell you something. My question is this. What do you think about Messi making the next World Cup in the U.S.? What do you think? Does he make it? If he does make it, what role does he have in Argentina? I personally think he'll still be an enganche, a player who can give passes off. I just want to know what you guys thinking about. And again, congrats on the podcast.
Thank you,
The
brother.
best soccer podcast I've ever heard. You guys are on fire, bro. Real talk. All right?
Thank you, brother.
Damn, man. That's a hell of a compliment, first and foremost, man.
absolutely.
Appreciate that.
Really appreciate that.
But once again, another great question, bro. Man, our viewers
Good
are
fun questions,
giving
man.
us some good questions.
Really fun question.
Does Messi make it to the next World Cup, and what's his role there?
I think obviously the answer is yes.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to have a impact, obviously not the same that he's had in years past or the same that he'll have this year. But I see Messi playing basically what this guy's saying. He's going to be a guy that's just going to purely feed. He's not going to dribble as much.
I agree.
He's not going to be as offensively aggressive, but his vision is not going to deteriorate, and his skill off the pass is not going to deteriorate. I see Messi honestly kind of playing like how Zlatan has been playing for the last like 6 years. So Zlatan for so long, basically ever since he moved from PSG, he's completely lost his physicality. He can't run anymore, but he still plays. And he does it at such a high level because he knows where his players are going to be. He knows how his teammates work. All Zlatan has done is just feed. And then when he gets a chance, Zlatan's still got it. He's got that class. And Messi's class is 10 times that of Zlatan. So it's going to be easy for Messi to have a huge impact still come 4 years' time. He's just not going to be as physical. But I still see Messi just being like Zlatan, but just at a much higher level.
Yeah, I see Messi kind of paying tribute to, I see him playing like the Aaron Moy role.
Paying tribute.
I see the same thing, man. Yeah. I see he's not gonna lose that touch, bro.
No.
I might even argue he might even get better at it, man.
Maybe because he has no choice.
We just might not see as many of those dribbling displays that he goes on, where he just takes on players and just gets by them.
Yeah.
But I still see him just being at the top of that box, just fizzling out passes, just looking, just constantly threatening. And honestly, I think that's a version of Messi that once he does that solely, I still think that's a monster of a player, bro.
Yeah.
That's still going to be really scary to face again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because he's still going to have the craft to just hold on to the ball and beat players just instead of off the dribble and the pass, it'll just solely be off the pass. But, I mean, that's the thing. What players out there have the vision of Messi? Very, very few.
And I don't think it's not like he's gonna be fucking like his back is gonna be broken or some shit. He's still gonna be actively on the pitch running and shit. So actually, I think it's just a slightly lesser version of what he is now with an emphasis on passing.
Yeah.
And what's cool about this too is that he's going to be 38 years old when that World Cup comes. So that is old for a soccer player, man.
It is.
2 years from 40. Mm-hmm. But what I realized once I did research on this question was that, we waited 4.5 years for this World Cup, but after this World Cup, we only have to wait three and a half.
Ah.
So that applies to all these players too. That's
less time.
It's 6 less months, man. That's big.
That's a lot.
So that's big. Hey, man, I think Messi and Ronaldo have a chance here at running it back.
Dang. What if Messi makes it and he announces before the World Cup, this is it, I'm retiring after this? Oh my God,
dude.
Bro. It would make so much sense though. Why would he start a whole new season after this?
Dude, imagine he does that, but
what a way to end it.
But the Argentina team is ass, bro. People are just like, God damn it. Shit. You can't give 4 more? 42-year-old Messi, man, at the World Cup. 2030. Probably like in Morocco or some shit.
Yeah.
Just guns a-blazing. Here we go.
So I just wanted to ask that, is there any chance that you think Haaland can take over Ronaldo in goal scoring?
Another great question. Because this one for me is like a numbers.
Yes.
This is purely numbers.
Math.
How many goals does Haaland need per season to catch up to 800 plus goal Ronaldo?
Yeah.
What do you got?
So I looked at the numbers. I did my math.
Turned them out.
I did my homework. And you know what really surprised me is that Ronaldo, during his stint at Manchester United, which was like 6 years, he only scored 84 goals. Wow. 84 goals.
Yeah.
Right? Which is a high amount. I think it's still good.
It's respectable.
It's respectable.
I just, you'd think he would have scored. You just think he would have scored more.
Yeah, because afterwards he went on to go on a gargantuan type of run and what cemented him as a potential GOAT. 815 total career goals is what he has right now.
Yeah.
It's insane, bro. Yeah, that's almost
ridiculous.
1,000. This is video game numbers.
It really is, man.
But what's interesting is that Haaland, at 21 years old, already has 93 goals.
Right.
93 goals if you count the goals he scored at Dortmund, Salzburg, and Molde. Mm-hmm. So he technically is already off to a better start than Ronaldo.
Yeah.
When it comes to age and time. So this question becomes super interesting once you consider that.
Yeah.
He is about, like 700 and something goals off.
Let's round it to, he has 100 and Ronaldo has 800.
Yeah.
So he needs 700 more goals.
Yeah. And this is not to. We gotta also assume that Ronaldo is gonna score a few more goals while he still plays. Might get up to like 900,
850, like 870.
Yeah, I think let's just assume another 75 in the next 5 years.
Yeah, man.
900 goals total.
Sheesh.
Haaland is gonna have to churn out. He's gonna have a couple 50-goal seasons. Not a couple. He's gonna need a few.
Have to like.
Yeah.
Half of his career is gonna be 50 goals minimum.
Shit, bro. Or he's just gonna need one of those like seasons where, like when Messi scored 93 goals in one season.
No, exactly.
It's gonna have to be like that, bro.
Yeah. And ultimately, to answer the question, I'm gonna say no, he does not. Not because he's not good enough, because he is on the trajectory to do it.
Absolutely.
The thing is with Haaland is he is injured every year for at least 10 games. That's 25% of the season, man. And the thing is, when you come back off these injuries, it takes a couple games to get back to pace, to get back to the in-game rhythm. And so those are goals gone. He'll never be able to get those goals back. And if Haaland's already injury prone at 20, 21 years old, it's not going to get better. They're going to have to watch Haaland's minutes, or he's just ultimately always going to get injured. And for me, that is the reason why he's not going to reach it. Ronaldo's a robot, man, when it comes to this type of stuff.
Health, bro.
To health,
rarely
he's
got
a
injured.
machine.
Yeah.
Rarely got injured. And for me, Haaland's just not the same when it comes to that body type.
Yeah, man. What we've seen has been concerning. That's
concerning.
actually an aspect that people don't really talk about. But when it comes to the greatest athletes of all time, LeBron, throw him into the conversation.
Kobe.
He never gets injured, bro.
Kobe, LeBron, never.
They never got injured. Messi as well. Rarely does he have he had one like a couple seasons ago where he was out for like the first 3 months. But dude, he rarely is out the amount of time that Haaland has been just
the course of his
in
career,
and out,
man.
It's really concerning, and that's. If that gets figured out, then maybe. But even then, I don't think so, man.
I don't think so. 800.
It's just too. It's the reason Ronaldo is because it was so unfathomable to achieve that rate.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. Although he is primed and in such a good position now. Let's say he stays healthy, he's already made the career move to be at a top club at a young age.
That's true.
Is going to have a role there much different than what Ronaldo had when he was at Man U. Haaland's going to be purely goal scoring.
Yeah. They're going to feed the hell out of Haaland.
They're going to feed that fucker everything
he needs.
Everything, bro.
Yeah. Whatever he wants, he's going to get it.
He's going to have the opportunity if he can stay healthy, but ultimately, I'm going no.
Hey guys, how are you doing? My name is Santiago Flores. I'm from Mexico. And I wanted to know which generation of the Mexican national team did you consider to be the best in history? Or maybe what generation is your favorite?
Yeah, two great questions here, man. Two great questions. I'll take this one. What's up, Santiago? Thanks for reaching out. Thanks for the question. This is actually good, man, because I don't know if there is a consensus within Mexican fans of which is the best team to have ever graced a pitch for us.
It's just like automatically like, 94 was really good or some shit.
Yeah. For me, I have to go with the 1999 squad as the best squad because they achieved the biggest trophy that Mexico has ever achieved, which was the Confederations Cup, where we beat Brazil 4-3 in the final. And I started looking more into that team. More specifically, I was like, if that's how they performed in the 1999 Confederations Cup, how did they perform in the 1998 World Cup? They didn't lose in the group stage. They didn't lose. They came out with, I think, 5 points.
Oh, that's good.
Tied in second.
No, that's solid.
And they lost in the round of 16 to Germany, but that German team had won the Euros the couple years right before.
God.
It was a good Germany team. And so I was like, okay, all right, that's
completely respectable.
That's all right, yeah. But then you look at the players, man. Ramon Ramirez, Palencia, Cuauhtémoc Blanco, Pavel Pardo, Claudio Suarez, one of Mexico's greatest center backs.
Yeah.
Rafa Marquez, also one of the greatest center back.
In 98?
Yeah, bro, he was young, bro. He was young. This is 99 Confederations Cup.
Okay,
yeah.
99.
And they faced off against a Brazil team that I looked through their lineup, wasn't their best squad, but if you look at the results throughout the group stage and like the knockout stages in that tournament, bro, they were going off, man.
Yeah.
The game prior, they faced off against, I think it was Saudi Arabia in the semis, and they won 8-2.
Yeah.
They were just pouncing teams. They played against the U.S., and they beat the U.S. as well. And they were like winning games by a lot. So it was still a classic Brazilian team that had a lot of like just that classic Brazilian talent on their team.
Yeah.
I think half of it was like European based and the other half was just based in the home in Brazil. You had a 19-year-old Ronaldinho playing for this team.
No way, yeah.
And it was, you had Dida at goal, who famously played for AC Milan. And they show up to Mexico. And Mexico gives it to him 4-3 in the final. The greatest trophy Mexico has ever won, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That to me is the greatest squad, because when I think about all the other squads that have been there throughout the times of Mexico's history, you have the 2000s era, which was a very good era for Mexico. And that answers my the next question, which is, who was your favorite one? My favorite one was the 2006 World Cup squad, the one that had Osvaldo Sanchez, Rafa Marquez still, Carlos Salcido, Pavel Pardo, Ramon Morales, Guardado, Borghetti. That squad was my favorite one. My favorite jersey was worn by them.
Yeah.
I loved the way that team played. There was a unity. There was a pride in that squad. But there was definitely, I guess, a cap limit on the level of success this team could achieve.
Okay.
Whereas the 1999 one just had a slightly higher level, in my opinion. Just slightly. Yeah.
Go toe-to-toe with the Euro champions
Yeah.
in 98. So then how do you rate the 2010s, the decade of Mexico?
Yeah.
How do you
Which
rate
started
this?
off so good, man.
Do you have good memories, or is it
Right.
What do you have?
I think it's good, because we did win gold cups. We won the Olympic gold medal as well. We won good trophies. And then we took it to teams in the World Cup, and we just, 2014 got unlucky against the Netherlands, honestly.
Yeah.
And that's that's the one team I would bring up in the sense of like maybe they could have an argument for best Mexican squad, because that team nearly did it, man. They nearly did it, bro. But I think highly of them. I think well of them. I think those teams are the standard for what Mexico fans hope to achieve yet again is that level. That's what is expected. That is the standard. But there's just another level that can be reached by a Mexican team. And I just think the closest team that did it was that 99 squad.
Yeah.
Those late 90s squads. And you look at the players they had, I think there is reason to believe that, because there's a lot of icons and legends in that team that we just don't really see that type of breed anymore, at least right now in this squad.
Hey, Reynoso Soltero, this is Eric.
What's up, Eric?
Desde Jalisco, from Jalisco.
Jalisco, that's where probably Chivas from.
Georgia. I just wanted to 2 questions. The first one is, who do you think is the front three starting for Mexico in the next World Cup? And who do you think might be a potential surprise in the next World Cup? Have a good day.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Eric. So I think it's clear.
Yeah, it's clear.
I think it's clear who the front three is. It's going to be Raul Jimenez. Mm-hmm. On one side, you're going to have El Chucky Lozano, and then on the other, you're going to have Tecatito Corona. I think it's clear. Tata Martino isn't even thinking about his front three right now because he knows who it is. But that's the thing, though, is that I don't think there's anyone he could even replace if he wanted to. There's no backup striker really for Mexico. He's been trying to get Santi Jimenez time. He's trying. Funes Mori has been involved. He's been involved. But for me, Jimenez...
Henry Martin.
And Henry Martin, who's honestly pretty good in Liga MX, but when it comes to international stage, really the only guy who's kind of short of that position that has shown that, like, he's the only option you really have is just going to be Jimenez, honestly. Yeah. And then you could say the exact same things about the winger roles with Corona and Lozano.
I think there's just one player that can maybe, which is Alexis Vega. It's the only one, but even his form is shaky, bro.
Shaky.
He had a good little run in the qualification cycle, but then it just kind of fanned out.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Linus is another one you could throw in there, but he can sometimes... I don't even know where this kid plays anymore, man.
Man, that's the thing. Does he play? That's another question.
Marcelo Flores, same thing, man.
Yes.
With that missed penalty, I don't even know.
Oh, yeah, man. That was not a good
pan.
Yeah. But that's the thing is the next question was who could be the next front threes to kind of step up as a surprise in the next World Cup. And as far as it's turning out right now, kind of as you're saying, I don't see anybody who could step up to the same level as Corona or Lozano or even Jimenez right now. I really don't, because like you said, there are players who have flirted with stealing that starting position. You just mentioned a few. Lainez, Vega, also Roberto Alvarado at one point was on the rise of becoming like the next great winger for Mexico. And now I don't even know who he is anymore. Antuna, Uriel Antuna.
Jesus, don't tell me about Antuna, bro.
Dude, exactly. There was one point where Antuna was starting over like Corona for like, 6 months? And that's it. Rodolfo Pizarro, when he was coming up with Pachuca, he was supposed to be like the next attacking creative midfield for Mexico. None of them have been able to crack into the starting 11 for Mexico consistently. And that's my problem. I don't actually see any big surprises in that front three coming up just over the next 2 years, let's say. I really don't. And I think that's the big problem right now for Mexico is what do you do when your starting 11 isn't working? Not much. You can try to bring in Atlas players, but Martino refuses to do that. He refuses to bring in good Liga MX talent. So I don't know. What can you do?
I think right now he's thinking, if I can find some way to give Jimenez two things, service and confidence, man.
Yeah.
Because that's the best hope for Mexico offensively. If Jimenez can get his confidence back somehow, get his just that energy that he's so well known for.
Yeah.
And service too, like he needs to be fed, bro.
Dude, he needs to be fed.
He needs to have active wingers.
Yes, bro.
So it kind of goes for all three of them. If they can just get confidence, man. But I'm talking about like real confidence, man. Genuine, like we got this.
We can beat you.
We can take on the responsibility. Like I don't think any of those three wingers right now, or any of those two wingers right now, have that confidence to them.
No,
but
dude.
Talent-wise, they are better than any other option we have right now.
Exactly.
So. It's just, man, if Chucky, if he needs to wake the fuck up. Honestly, I would say Corona has been much more effective than Chucky.
I think so.
But that's not saying much.
It's not saying much.
So it's I know we've been criticizing Tata a lot, but there's also aspects of this team that are on the players themselves.
Yeah, that's actually been a big point of contention for Mexico. Is who do you really blame?
Yeah,
is it Tata or is it the players? Yeah, you could make a good argument for both.
Yeah, and then for the second part of his question was who's going to be a surprise at this next World Cup. Ooh, I like this because man. There's a number of answers here.
Yeah, there really is.
A number based off of recent performances. Denmark.
Oh, okay.
Denmark. We haven't really shed light on Denmark.
We really haven't. We really haven't.
Denmark has been putting in solid performances now.
Yeah.
To the point that I gotta my eye is raised. My eyebrow is raised.
Yeah,
I'm like,
same dude, same.
What the hell is going on over there, man?
Man.
This Denmark team is better than the one that was at the World Cup 4 years ago. They have experience.
Yes.
They have a much better setup, and they know now. I truly do feel like they have this confidence to them that they can go at a big team, bro, which I don't think they had before. And they're like slowly rising up the ranks of like World Cup favorites because they're just doing so good in the games that they're playing. Recently in Nations League, they've been getting really good results, and I'm starting to pay attention to them now that they've been rising in the ranks a little.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think when Denmark is when they're clicking, there's an energy to Denmark, man. And again, that energy is what's going to take them to the pinnacle of a tournament like this because they're not scared when they play against those big teams. What's going to be so interesting about Denmark, though, is that they have holes at that back line. So they can be beaten by anybody. But what I love about them is that they're not fazed by that.
Yeah.
Like they know it, but they're like, well, we can still try to outscore you. And I love that about Denmark. I absolutely love that. But as far as surprises for this World Cup, for me, I think of one specific team, if I'm not including Canada. I think the bigger surprise here is going to be Senegal. I think Senegal are going to make a deep run. You're
doubling down on Senegal, man.
Not off of playing flair or entertaining football.
Sure.
I think they're just going to get the results.
But bro,
yeah.
For real, man.
Yeah, I really do. Their defensive line, I think, is very stout. Okay. And it's very, very disciplined. And they're very physical side, even with their midfield. Their midfield is a perfect blend of physicality and a little bit of creativity so they can try to push some sort of offense. And then, of course, they have some good key players offensively, highlighting Sadio Mane as their best. So they may not score a lot of goals, and they're not going to at this World Cup. Nothing's going to change about the way they play. They're going to play the exact same way they've been playing for the last 4 years. but I think it's going to work. I think they're going to get the results, and they're going to piss some teams off because some teams that aren't going to be able to score, and they're going to grind out 1-0, 2-1, 1-1 results. And I think Senegal going to surprise in that manner.
That's a very optimistic view on this team. I remember we had that Senegalese friend who told us that people in Senegal are very critical of the team because because of the talent that they have. They feel they should be doing better. But then again, they've done all that they could. They won the AFCON, and then they qualified for the World Cup.
Yeah.
So I think there is a potential. There is
I think so.
a really high limit that this team can reach. But I don't know, man. There's something about the results they got at AFCON that isn't really convincing me,
They
man.
won't do this in
They did
style.
enough. Yeah,
They
that's
won't
the thing.
do this in style.
It's not that aesthetically pleasing. I think that's what it is.
That's what it is.
But they got the results. I can't knock them for that.
I'm not going to be happy when I see Senegal play. I'm just saying that they're going to somehow get the results.
Yeah, bro. Whether it's laser pointers or whatever, man, they're going to do at all costs, man. They're going to get that result.
They're going to somehow do it. I'm telling you.
Damn, man. So you think it's Senegal and Netherlands that make it out of the group?
Yes.
Group A.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I think so. Qatar might have something to say, but I think Senegal for sure is getting out of the group.
All right.
Yeah.
Who are your current top 3 ones to watch teenagers in world football?
Teenagers. Okay. This is interesting because, I mean, Wonder Kids, bro.
Yeah.
They're so highly talked about.
Absolutely.
In the culture of football. It's crazy. I think 2 that I don't have 3, but 2 that stand out to me, and maybe you can give me a third one.
Okay.
The first one, man, I was watching the other day. I was like, Jesus Christ, bro. What are they feeding these kids? Gavi, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Gavi, man.
Yeah.
What a player, bro. I'm fascinated by this kid. He's 17 years old. His touch, dude, his first touch is generational. I like seeing him touch the ball. I'm like, that's not a typical first touch, bro.
That's like Gen Z.
It's Gen Z shit,
touch.
bro.
Yeah.
It's getting weird, bro. I'm like, dude, the quality of it is insane. It's like, why couldn't I have that touch, man? Yeah. Really good anticipation, vision, and close control and tight spots and tight spaces. Knows how to get out of them. He has a highlight. I think it was a Nations League the other day where he was like at the top of his box. Like they had to clear the ball out. He brings the ball down and he just sombreros the ball over not one but 2 players. 1-2 touch, gets out of it, draws a foul, and he gets out of it. And I'm just like, nah, man, nah. Crafty, bro, crafty player. And so for me, I think he is a player to watch. Absolutely. I know that he's up there alongside with Pedri, and Pedri gets a lot more of the spotlight, maybe for better reason.
I think he's a little bit more offensive and more involved with like goal scoring.
Yeah, and I think he's further along, Pedri. I think he is a couple years older too. But dude, Gavi's already starting for the national team, man.
Yeah, you're right. Think about that. That's crazy.
He started in it was the semifinal of the Nations League. He started for Spain, bro. And I'm like, that's insane, man. Yeah. He's a player to watch. And then the third one is at this point, it's pretty stereotypical or predictable, but Bellingham, bro.
That's my go-to. When I think about teenagers, for me, it's Jude Bellingham.
I think he's the best one, man.
I do think so. Even when he was 17, just hitting the scene, you could tell like this guy was beyond his years.
Yeah.
He looked like he was already 25, just parked in the middle of that midfield, directing people where to go and just feeding them. Dude, he has a dynamicism about him that it's so impressive to watch because he's physical, but he's also quick. Insanely quick. So for me, for a midfielder to be as physical as he is, but have that quick touch that he does, it's so impressive to watch. And then not only that, for me, his vision isn't the best, but it's only getting better. I just continually see him improve on his vision and his passing, and he already has the right ideas. His dribbling is powerful, and he's involved on both ends, man. He can defend when he needs to, and he's completely involved offensively, and he enjoys both sides of the game. He honestly could be one of the most complete midfielders in his prime when he gets there, man, because he's already trending towards that.
Dude,
man.
I swear, in another life, he was a conductor because the way he dictates tempo, bro.
Yeah, bro.
He is a metronome just out there just dictating rhythm, control, and man, England is spoiled in that sense in the midfield, man. Just like that, they have their solution at the midfield for the next 10 years minimum,
plus,
bro.
Yeah, bro.
Minimum.
Crazy.
One of the best midfielders that the game is going to have in future years. So congrats to England fans, and that's incredible. Yeah, I only have 2, but I think those are 2 good ones to point out.
Yeah.
All right, so my question is, how do you think America is going to do this season? Because it's been a couple of years since we won the league. Do you think it's going to happen this year or what?
I think America's biggest problem for the past couple years has been the lack of potential fulfillment of the signings that they've made. So let me make sense out of that. So around a couple years ago, they got Federico Viñas to kind of be their number one striker from Uruguay. They've also tried to get Juan Fernando Otero recently. They got Álvaro Fidalgo, the Spaniard winger. All three of those players were set to be their next part of their front line to score goals, right? None of them have really followed through on their potential. I remember when Viñas made his debut like 3 years ago for America, very physical type of forward, and I could see he has a good IQ. So I was like, okay, this is a signing for the future. In a couple years, I could see Viñas completely leading this line and being one of the top goal scorers in Liga MX. He has no output, man. None. And when you think about Fidalgo, he was supposed to be the replacement to a prime Renato Ibarra, a guy who's dynamic, quick, but also heavily involved offensively. For me, Fidalgo is very good. He can cut inside, he can create, and he can also just kind of be down that wing and play as that winger type role, but he just doesn't produce enough. And Otero's been non-existent since he came from Santos, and you just think about the players that they've gotten over these past couple years offensively, they just haven't worked out. They're still relying on the players that they've had for like 6 years. They're still relying on Roger Martinez. They're still relying on Henry Martin. And right now they're relying on Zendejas, a guy who they didn't think would actually be really good, but he ended up being one of their better players in this last semester. And that's the thing, is that their best player was a guy who's already well known in Liga MX, Diego Valdez. He went off this past semester for them, but it was known because he's been one of the best midfielders in Liga MX for the last 4 years. So for me, what's wrong with America is that the signings that they made to better their future just not pulling through. So for me, and it actually is completely, and actually my point is made is because they just signed Jonathan Rodriguez from Saudi Arabia, a guy who knows the league very well as he played with Cruz Azul for a number of years. So they're like, look, we just got to go with people who we know who are good in the league. Like, because what we signed for players outside the league, it's just not working. Yeah, it's not working. So for them to sign Rodriguez, I think is a sign of like, yeah, we just need guys who know the league because that's what's working right now. I think they'll have a better chance this year because obviously the thing is their squad as a whole is still good. Like they have a good team. They're always going to be, in my opinion, top 4, top 5 team, just as they were in this last semester. But I think Valdez and Rodriguez can link up really, really well this Apertura. I think they'll be better, but I don't think it'll be enough to win a title.
Yeah, man. You look at their past two, this past season, went the Apertura, they finished in first. They finished in first in the Apertura. Yeah. And then they got upset by an 8 seed in Pumas. Yeah. Following year, they get 4th in the Clausura, and they lose to Pachuca in the semis. Yeah. They still managed to get those top 4 finishes. Mm-hmm. And, you know, in Liga MX, that's good enough. Like, to consistently do that, that is a good sign of a club that's well ran. But I think so. They do need to make that next step towards being more clinical when it comes to those later stages, man. Yeah, because that especially in the Apertura result of losing out to Pumas, who was an 8 seed, that to me just shows that you don't have the players to do what they're supposed to do when the time comes. Exactly. And maybe these new signings are going to do that for them.
Yeah, that's what they're hoping for.
Hey guys, this is Caden here. I'm a pretty big Atalanta fan living in the U.S. and I just want to know you guys' thoughts on Atalanta possibly getting Luis Suarez in the offseason. And do you think that would be a good fit? I personally think it'd be a good fit. I know he's old, but I think, you know, he fits our style pretty well, and I just want you guys' thoughts on it.
First off, dude, an Atalanta fan in the U.S.,
in the U.S., bro? That's so dope,
we could make a whole episode on just our experiences as fans of European teams in the U.S., true. Man. I remember you had that whole spiel how you never met an you've never met an Atletico Madrid fan.
I argue.
Here in the U.S.
I argue that I'm the only Atleti fan within a 300-mile radius. I argue that, and I live near Houston, Dallas.
Someone, DM me, please. Tell me that you're in Texas and you're an Athletic fan because this guy is alone.
I'm alone. I'm on an island out here in the States.
More specifically, it's fans of teams outside the Premier League. Because
That's what it is.
yeah,
That's
because
what
I've
it
seen
is.
Liverpool bars, Arsenal pubs, Man City pubs. Like there's plenty here.
Oh, plenty.
But if you support a team outside the Premier League in the U.S., I admire you for sure.
It's
And
lonely.
this is even
It's
crazier.
very, very lonely.
This ain't
Yeah,
La Liga. This
yeah.
is Serie A. So
Yeah.
props to you, Caden. But to answer your question, yeah, so I was looking at Atalanta and how they did this past season. And something that stood out to me is that the top 4 teams in Serie A only allowed less than 37 goals.
Yeah.
The top 4 teams. That's what it takes. I think it was Juventus who was at 37, and the top 3 teams were below 32 goals.
Damn.
I looked at Atalanta.
That's really good defense.
It's really good, man.
Wow.
I look at Atalanta, and they allowed 48 goals.
Right.
I was like, okay, maybe we need to shore something out there, tighten some screws. Which, funny enough, I checked their transfers, and I see that they just signed Demiral, the center back.
Yeah.
They just signed him, added him to the team. And then I'm all like, okay, interesting. I look at how many goals they scored. They scored 65 goals last season. So offensively, I'm like, that's not, like, that's already top 5 in Italy.
Yeah.
That's not that bad.
That's not bad.
You've seen Luis Suarez for 2 full seasons now.
Yes.
And from what you're telling me, I don't think he's the solution for Atalanta. I
Yeah.
don't. I think Atalanta needs a different type of offensive player. And I think that Luis Suarez specifically is just slowly running out of gas. He's not one of those players that as he ages, you think that he might find a different way to make an impact. I feel like he's just, for him, it's just decline. It's just decline.
It's just unfortunate
It's just less
decline.
of what he was.
Yes.
Whereas other players can sometimes emphasize other areas of their game. I see Suarez just slowly washing away. I don't think Atalanta is that solution for him. For the team themselves, I think they got to look somewhere else offensively if they want to get their answer there. What do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. So Suarez, not even just pace or strength-wise, I think he's deteriorating with his finishing ability, honestly. But what's interesting is that for Suarez, I think it's a great move. For him to go to a team like Atalanta, a team that basically only has feeders just all around. So right now, usually they start Zapata, Muriel either coming off the bench or starting alongside him. I think Suarez would actually pair up great with a big striker like Zapata. I think it'd be a great pairing, even with an old Suarez.
You think that's what he needs?
I think that's what Suarez needs. That's not what Atalanta need. That's the thing. I think Suarez needs that type of offense where he's not going to be the focal point because he can't do that job. It would still be Zapata and it would still be the creators around him. I think Suarez would actually thrive in a situation like that. And Serie A in general is a slower paced league offensively than La Liga. That's what Suarez needs. He needs to be running less.
Man, absolutely.
He needs to be running less. So for Suarez, I think it's a great move, actually, if he were to go to a team like Atalanta or another type of upper mid-table Italian team. Now, for any team that gets him, you're going to have to know how to use him.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So for Atalanta to get him, maybe it'd be bad if they're not going to know how to use him.
Yeah.
But for Suarez, I think any Italian team, honestly, is a good move.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Just slowly going down the tiers of European leagues. La Liga. Yeah. It's just one by one. Man, I'm just happy to see an Atalanta fan out in the US, man. Out and about. So.
Amen.
All right. Last and final question. Here we go.
My question is, should Messi leave PSG?
Oh,
Should he?
straightforward.
Yeah.
Should Messi leave PSG?
The comeback, the return home to Barcelona. You don't like that? That narrative?
A return from what, dude? From vacation? Yeah, he should leave PSG. I don't think right now, though. I need to see him at PSG another year.
I want to see Messi make a deep run with PSG.
Yeah,
That's what I
just
want.
need one more year.
Yeah.
And then a return, I think, would be viable. Or take it to the Prem like Ronaldo.
Dang.
Like that's selfishly why I would want him to leave, is to just see him at
the Prem.
anywhere in the Prem, bro.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
come
yeah.
on, man. Just come to this league, bro. Shut everyone up that's ever said anything bad about you. Any English pundit. Just come for 1 year.
Yeah.
And give us what we want, man.
Yeah.
Is he going to leave PSG? That's a more interesting question. Like, is it going to happen? I think so. I don't think PSG is his last team. I don't think he retires with PSG. That image doesn't make sense to me, man.
I just wonder, do Barca have the finances in the near future to actually fund Messi coming back? Like, realistically. I'm not even saying, like, to sign him to a max contract. I'm just saying, can they pay some sort of wage to Messi to be like, look, we've fixed our checkbooks. We've checked our balances. Come back home to Barcelona and retire here. In theory, it sounds great, but can it actually happen financially? I wonder. And for Messi to go to the Premier League, I feel like Messi had that opportunity and it's gone now.
Yeah.
I feel like since Messi chose PSG, or maybe was forced to PSG, instead of forcing a move to the Prem, I feel like that boat has sailed. Messi will never play in the Prem. I really do think it's gone. The boat has sailed. The window is closed. It's done. Messi will never play in the Prem. I really do believe that. And another fun question is, if Messi ever does leave PSG, do you think he'd ever entertain the idea of playing in Argentina?
I think he would, man.
Where would he go? Like River
Yeah, right.
Plate?
Yeah, he ain't going to River Boca, right?
That's what I'm saying.
He would go to Newell's Old Boys.
Old Boys. Yeah, that'd be a crazy coming of age to come back home.
Or the MLS, man. Remember that rumor was popped up at one point
that he
would go
actually
to
might sign with Miami and become part owner as he plays.
Dude, logistically, not even as a Mexican American, I can see it. Dude.
I actually could see that.
I can see it.
I could see that more so than in ever going to Argentina, even going back to Barcelona. Honestly, I could see him going to the MLS over any of those options.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Dude, to gain equity in a company
while still getting paid.
Who else is gonna offer you that, bro? No, European team is gonna. European teams have too much self-respect for that shit.
They do.
Inter Miami does not give a shit.
No.
They'll just offer him half the damn club.
Bring Messi to Miami. And it's just a party.
Only one, man. Yeah, that's the only one, man. But I just hope Messi is happy.
Yeah, I really do. I hope he's happy because we need a happy Messi so he can keep entertaining us.
Yeah, man. If he comes to the States, man, we'll get him on the pod, bro.
Absolutely,
we'll get him on the pod, man. Get him on here. Maybe sell him a shirt, man. Remember, guys, as we close out this episode, I want to remind you guys first and foremost to go grab some of our merch. Go purchase some of our merch online. The link will be in our Spotify and on our Instagram. Anywhere you watch us, you can buy some merch. Help support the channel, man. We'd be eternally grateful for that.
Yes.
Thank you guys for sending in your video fan questions. Perfect. This is actually
really
amazing.
Loved it. Really enjoyed it.
Really liked it. And finally, guys, remember to download the OneFootball app. I want to thank them for sponsoring us. And go download that app. Go make your footballing lives easier, man. This is just way too much to navigate. Go download it and make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Anything you guys want, let us know what your thoughts are on all these topics we discussed. And we will catch you guys next time.